Hello friends, I am Ankita Meshram, MTech in Structural Engineering, Assistant Professor in Civil Engineering Department at Tulsiramji Gaikwad Patil College of Engineering and Technology, Nagpur. So, I welcome you all in today's video lecture session which is based on subject steel structure. Today I am going to deal with the topic is bolted connection. Okay, so I am begin with the lecture. First of all, I would like to brief about the riveted connection, which is similar to that of bolted connection. So, the riveted connections are no longer in use nowadays. The rivet is made up of round ductile material called as shank. They are classified based on the head shape, that is snap, pan, flat countersunk and round countersunk. The diameter of shank is called as the nominal diameter. Rivets are generally two types. Number one is hot driven rivets and number two is cold driven rivets. Also they are available in the form of shop rivets as well as field rivets. Okay. So first of all I would like to brief about hot driven rivets. The rivets are first heated, then the diameter get increased. The heated diameter is greater than the shank diameter, which is called as gross diameter. After cooling, the length of rivet reduces, joints become tighter and the diameter of rivet reduces. So, some spaces remains between rivet and hole. Okay. Now, the cold driven rivets, they generally needs high pressure. The strength of cold driven rivets is greater than the hot driven rivets. Okay. Now, I am going to discuss about the rivet patterns. Number one is chain pattern, number two is staggered pattern, number three diamond, and last there is a combination of staggered and diamond. So basically this is the pattern in which the rivets are arranged. Okay. Now the design of riveted sections are same as that of bolted connection with the following differences. In case of rivets, the diameter of rivet is generally called as the diameter of hole. In case of bolt, the diameter of bolt is called as the nominal diameter of bolt. So the basic difference is that the diameter of rivet is considered as the diameter of hole, and in case of bolt, the diameter of bolt itself called as the nominal diameter of the bolt. Okay. The design stress of rivet is greater than the design stress of bolt. So, the main difference between the rivet and the bolt is that the rivets have no threads and the bolt having threads at the end. Okay. Now, the main topic is the bolted connection. So, it consists of bolt, that is shank with a head at one end and threaded at another end. Then the nuts and washers were there. Washers are generally used to distribute the clamping pressure on bolted member to prevent the threaded portion, and if the section is subjected to vibration, nuts are there to lock the portion. Okay. Now some advantages of connections over riveted connection, that is the advantage of bolted connection. They speed up erection of structure, needs less skilled person. Overall cost of the bolt is less as compared to the rivet due to reduction in labor and equipment cost. Next, there are some disadvantages also, that is the objections on use of bolts, because the cost of bolt is greater than the cost of rivet material. The tensile strength of bolt is less than the tensile strength of rivet due to the reduction in area of cross section at the root of threaded. So the threads were there in the bolt. So basically the tensile strength of bolt is less than the tensile strength of rivet because there is a reduction in area at the threaded portion. Okay. They may lose due to vibrations and shocks. Okay. Now moving forward, there are different methods for making holes for the bolted connection. Number one is drilling. Number two is punching. So saves time and the cost, but reduction in ductility and toughness. As per IS 800-2007, that is the based on limit state method, it permits punching only when the material yield stress is less than 360 Newton per mm square and the thickness is less than 5600 upon Fy in mm. If the punching is to be used, holes are punched 2 mm less than the required and 2 mm is drilled. Okay. So basically this is the concept behind the methods of making holes for the bolts as per the IS 800-2007. Now there are types of bolted connections. So one by one I am going to discuss here. Number one is classification on the basis of resultant force transferred. So there are three classification. Number one is concentric, when the load passes through CG of the section. Okay. So in case of axial load, the concentric resultant force is transferred from the axis of the member. Number two is eccentric, when the load is away from the CG of the connection, such as in case of channels. Okay. And number three is moment resisting, the joint subjected to the moment in case of beam column connection. Okay. Now the next classification is based on the type of forces. Number one is shear connection, in which load is transferred through shear, basically in the lap joint and butt joint concept. Okay. Number two is tension connection, the load transferred by tension on bolts, that is in hanger connection it is take place. Okay. And at last there is a combined shear and tension connection, that is take place in inclined member connected to the bracket and the bracing connections. Okay. So this is the types of bolted connection. Next, the next topic is the type of bolts. So basically the bolts are available in the two types. Number one is unfinished bolt and number two is high strength bolt. So first of all I would like to discuss about the unfinished bolts. They are also known as ordinary rough or black bolts, used for connecting light structures for static and secondary members, that is purlins, bracing, trusses, etc. They are not suitable for the vibrations and fatigue. They are generally made up of steel rods from low carbon steel. The heads are made square or hexagonal in shape, costly but appearance is better. Okay. And they are generally available in 5 mm to 36 mm diameter, designated as M5 to M36. In structural steel, generally bolts are used M15, M20, M24 and M30 in diameters. Okay. The ratio of net tensile area to the nominal plane shank is equal to 0.78 as per the IS 1367, but in IS 800 2007, that is the updated IS code of steel structure based on limit state method, the ratio is taken as 1. Okay. So as per IS 800, net tensile area is considered at root, called stress area or proof area. Okay. Now the bolts are designated by IG 4.6, that is the grade of bolt. So the ultimate stress is 400 Newton per mm square and the yield stress of the bolt is 0.6 into 400, which is equal to 250 Newton per mm square. So basically the bolt having grade 4.6, ultimate stress is 400 and yield stress is 240 Newton per mm square. There are not significant clamping stresses developed, and the force is transferred through the interlocking and bearing, that is the bearing type joint. Okay. Now this is the example and this is the image of bolt. The threaded portion is at the end and then the shank portion is there and the hexagonal shape of head is there. Okay. So this is the overall diagrammatic representation of bolt and the bolt assembly. Okay. And the ordinary hexagonal head of bolt is there. This is the example of hexagonal head of bolt. Okay. So now moving forward, the rods with large ends called upset rods, that is shown in figure, have been used to circumvent the problem of reduced cross sectional area under the threads. The enlarged end is proportioned so that the strength at the thread is greater than the strength of unthreaded body of the rod. The forging process used to create the enlarged end is expensive. Therefore, upset rods are less common in construction applications than they are in the machine applications. Okay. So basically these are the used for the machine application rather than the construction. Okay. Next, now I am going to discuss about the high strength bolt, that is the second type. Okay. So basically it is made up from medium carbon heat treated steel and from alloy steel, tightened until they have very high tensile stress, that is twice the ordinary bolt. Okay. And the load resisted at high stress, called as proof load. They are connected parts are clamped together. Then the loads are transferred primarily by friction, not by shear. So basically these are called as friction bolts. To avoid slip, surface to be connected must be free from rust, paint and grease. Okay. Then the better vibration and impact resistance is there because they are high strength bolts. Okay. They are available in 5 mm to 36 mm diameter, designated as M5 to M36. The commonly used grades of bolts are 8.8S, 10.9S, written at the cap of the bolt. Okay. So basically the grades is higher than 4.6, right, having the very high strength capacity. Okay. So now the advantages of high strength bolt are as follows. No slip between the elements connected. They provide rigid joint and the high strength of connection is there. Okay. No shearing and bearing failure occur. No stress concentration in the hole, which give more fatigue strength. Okay. Uniform tensile stress in bolt. No loosening in the bolt, right, because they are resistance to shock and vibrations, right. Now the less manpower is required, so it is cost saving also, economical in nature also. There is less noise nuisance were created during the connection, and the less number of bolts are required as compared to the rivets. So basically the overall advantages of high strength bolt is as more as compared to the rivet connection. Next, the next topic is very important, that is the types of bolted connection. So there are generally two types. Number one is lap joint and number two is the butt joint. So lap joint, when two members are overlapped and connected together, the specific joint is called as lap joint. Maybe single bolted or two bolted joint, that is called as double bolted. Okay. The loading axis of the member do not match. The load is eccentric in nature. Uneven stress distribution is there, and the bending of joint gives the couple moment to be formed. The bolt may fail in tension. At least two bolt must be used. So the basic, the minimum number of bolt is used for connecting the lap joint is 2 number of bolt, right. So the next is butt joint. Members are placed end to end. So the cover plates are provided in two ways, that is the single cover plate butt joint and double cover plate butt joint. Double cover plate joints better than the lap joint. Okay, since shear force in double cover plate is half of shear force in lap joint. Shear strength of double cover plate is equal to 2 times the shear strength of lap joint. So in double cover plate joint there is no bending occur. Okay, so basically this is the advantage of butt joint over the lap joint. Okay. Now these are the diagrammatic representation of lap joint. So as you all can see that in figure number 1, the two plates are overlapped each other and they are connected with the help of bolted connection. Okay. Now figure number B is single bolted lap joint, in which single row of bolted connection is there. In figure number C, they are called as double bolted lap joint because two rows were there of bolted connection for connecting the two plates. Okay, so there is a eccentricity in lap joint generally take place, because of that the failure may occur. Now the example of butt joint. So as you all can see that a double cover single bolted butt joint, there are two cover plates provided. Okay, and they are joined with the help of bolted connection in the two rows of bolts were arranged. So they are called as double cover single bolted butt joint, right. In both the plates there are single row of bolt. Okay. In figure number 2, the double cover double bolted butt joint, because the two plates were connected with the help of two cover plates and they are connected with the help of bolted connection in two rows, right. So basically this is the overall diagrammatic representation of types of bolted joint, that is lap joint and butt joint. So failure is take place in this way. As you all can see that a force P, that is the tensile force, is applied at both the ends. Because of that the bolts get failed in this manner. Next, the very important topic is the failure of bolted connection. There are 6 types of failures. So one by one I am going to deal with. Number 1 is shear failure of bolt. It occurs when shear stress in bolt is greater than the nominal shear stress shear failure. So there are 2 types. Number 1 is single shear failure. shear failure at one section of a bolt occurs in case of lap joint only, and the double shear failure, that is a shear failure at two sections of bolt, occurs in case of butt joint. So basically there are two action of shear failure take place. Number one is single shear, which is take place in case of lap joint, and double shear failure generally take place in case of butt joint. This particular concept I already explained in your theoretical class. Okay. Now number two is bearing failure of bolt and the bearing failure of plate. So because of the load, the bearing failure occur. So in general, transfer of force in connecting plates through bearing action. Number two is half circumference of the plate in contact with bolts get crushed, that is when the plate is weaker than the bolt. Okay. Third is half circumference of bolt in contact with plate get crushed when the bolt is weaker than the plate. Okay. Or partially both plate and bolts are get crushed. So crushing action take place in the bearing failure. Okay. Now the next is tension failure of bolt. So if bolt in tension and tensile stress in bolt is greater than the permissible stress, will give you the tension failure at root of thread, because the thread portion is comparatively weak in nature, because the reduction because there is a reduction in area. Okay. So tension failure is occur. So basically this is the example of failure of bolt because of the external load in the form of shearing, bearing and tearing, right. Next is tension, or you can say that tearing rupture failure of the plates. So basically the failure take place of bolt as well as plate. Okay. The bolt may get fail or the plates may get failed under the action of external load. So you have to calculate the strength of bolt as well as the strength of plate. Okay. And at last you have to find out the efficiency of the joint, right. So begin with the fifth type of failure is tension or tearing rupture failure of plates. So in plates, holes in plate for connection, because of that reduction in the net effective area of the plate, which ultimately gives the tension failure of the plate. Okay. Then the tension failure of plate may be prevented with the help of fewer holes or staggered holes, right. So by making the minimum number of holes, you can prevent the tension failure of plates. Then the plate breaks along the bolt line. Generally the failure take place along the bolt line, right. So the next type is shear failure of plate due to insufficient end distance, that is the distance from end of plate from center of the nearest hole measured along the force direction is called as end distance, right. The portion of plate of width equal to the diameter of hole is sheared, right. To prevent the shear failure, you have to provide enough end distance. Okay. So basically these are the criterias for failure of bolt and how to prevent the failure of bolt, right. The next one is the block shear. It is a combination of shear failure and tension failure. So the portion of plate, that is block shear, along the force direction, it take place generally along the force direction. Okay. So basically this is the failure modes of bolted joint. As you all can see that the single shear take place in case of lap joint. Okay. The shearing action is take place between the two plates under the action of external load, that is tensile load, right. Number two, that is double shear, which is generally take place in case of butt joint, where in the butt joint there are two planes of shearing action take place, right. So basically this is called as double shear pattern, right. Now the bearing on plate and bolt, that is the crushing failure is take place, which is called as bearing failure. In figure number C, there are shear tear out of the plate. The plate tear out under the action of external load, right. And at last there is a tension failure of plate, and in figure number E, as you all can see that the block shear failure, which is take place due to both shearing and tearing criteria, right. So this is the overall diagrammatic representation of failure modes of bolted joints. So moving forward, there are some important terminologies involved in bolted connection. So number one is pitch. Pitch is generally called as center to center distance between individual fasteners, that is the bolt. They are generally called as structural fasteners because they are used for connecting the members. Okay, so they are called as fasteners, right? So the center to center distance between individual fasteners, that is bolt, in a line oblique rows measured parallel to the direction of force. Okay, so the center to center distance between two bolts which is measured parallel to the direction of force is generally called as pitch, right? So if bolt are in zigzag pattern, the distance measured parallel to the direction of load is called as staggered pitch distance. Okay, so as you all can see that there is a member connected with the bolted connection, right? So the center to center distance between two bolt is called as pitch, which is measured along the direction of force, right? Number 2 is gauge. It is defined as the distance between adjacent gauge, that is bolt line, measured perpendicular to the direction of force. Okay, so basically it is also called as center to center distance between two adjacent bolt, but they are generally measured along the they are generally measured perpendicular to the direction of force, right? Next, there are some limitations on pitch, or you can say that some specifications given by Indian Standard 800 2007. So the minimum pitch criteria is as follows: pitch should not be less than 2.5 the nominal 2.5 times the nominal diameter of bolt, which is called as minimum pitch, right? Pitch distance should not be less than the minimum pitch due to the following reasons, right? To prevent the bearing failure between two bolts, you have to maintain the minimum pitch, right? The minimum pitch distance should not be less than 2.5 the nominal diameter of bolt for preventing the bearing failure, for sufficient space to tight the bolts, to avoid overlapping of the washers, and to avoid tearing out of the plate between the bolts, right? So the maximum pitch specification, it is given in Indian Standard 800. So for tension member, pitch should not be greater than 16 T or 200 mm, whichever is less, where T is the thickness of thinner plate. In compression member, pitch should not be greater than 12 T or 200 mm, whichever is less, where T is the again thickness of the thinner plate. In compression member, where forces are transmitted through the butting face, right? Then the pitch 4.5 D should not be greater than for a distance of 1.5 times the from the butting faces, where B is the width of member. Pitch for edge row of the outside plate should not be greater than 100 mm plus 40 or 200 mm, whichever is less. If bolts are staggered at equal interval, and the gauge should not be greater than 75 mm, that is pitch for tension and compression member may be increased by 50%, provided pitch is 32 T or 300 mm. This all the specifications are given in Indian Standard 800 2007. You can refer the specification for the design concept, right? Now, pitch should not be greater than the maximum pitch due to the following reasons: because to reduce the length of connection and gusset plate, and to maintain to have the compact joint, right? For long joints, it should greater than 15 times the diameter of bolt, that is the end bolts are stressed more to give the progressive joint failure, which is called as unbuttoning, right? Unbuttoning is controlled by the limiting the maximum pitch value. In case of built up compression member joints, that gives the buckling of cover plates, right? In case of built up tension member joint, gives the connected plates tends to gap apart from cover plate in transverse direction. So basically this is the specification of pitch, right? So it is very important criteria for the designing concept. So moving forward, the next terminology is edge distance. So it is a distance from center of any extreme bolt hole to the edge of the plate, measured perpendicular to the load direction. Okay, and the next is end distance. It is also center to center distance of bolt holes to the edge of an element, but it is measured along the direction of load. Okay, so the basic difference is that end distance is measured along the load direction and edge distance is measured perpendicular to the load direction. Okay, so the minimum edge criteria is given in Indian Standard. So minimum edge distance and minimum end distance is 1.7 hole diameter gives the, in case of sheared or hand flame cut edges, that is uneven in nature, or it should not be less than 1.5 times the hole diameter in case of rolled machine flame cut, sawn and plant plane edges. Okay, so it should not be less than 1.7 times the hole diameter, or should not be less than 1.8 times the hole diameter. Okay, so if edge distance is less than the minimum edge distance and end distance is minimum end distance, so the plate may fail in tension, or still of plate opposite the hole may bulge out. Okay, so now the concept of hole diameter. So hole diameter is generally called as nominal diameter of bolt plus clearance. So for nominal diameter from 12 mm to 14 mm, the clearance is 1 mm, right, for making the hole diameter, right. For nominal diameter of bolt is 16 mm to 24 mm, in that case the clearance is 2 mm, and the nominal diameter of bolt is greater than 24 mm, in that case you have to provide 3 mm clearance. Okay, so for example, if the bolt diameter is 16 mm, in that case the hole diameter is considered or taken as 18 mm by adding the clearance. Okay, now the maximum edge distance, it is called as the edge distance to the nearest line of fasteners from an edge of any unstiffened part, should not be greater than 12 times 12 t, where 12 t epsilon e, where e is the under root of 250 upon fy, which is called as epsilon e, that is the strain criteria, and the thickness is equal to, t is equal to thickness of the thinner outer plate. Okay, so this is again the one of the specification of maximum edge distance, which is given in Indian Standard 800. Above is valid for fasteners interconnecting the components of back-to-back tension members, right, where members are exposed to corrosive influences, that is edge distance should not be greater than 40 mm or 40 mm plus 4 t, in which t is the thickness of the thinner plate, right. If edge distance is greater than the maximum edge distance, in that case edges may separate, moisture may reach between the parts, and the corrosion problem take place in the joint. Okay, so you should provide the minimum edge distance and minimum pitch distance in the design consideration, right. So this is the diagrammatic representation of pitch, gauge, end distance, edge distance, right. That is the center to center distance between two bolt in the direction of force is called as pitch. Center to center distance between two bolts perpendicular to the direction of force is called as gauge. Okay, the end distance, that is the distance between the center of the bolt to the end of the plate along the force direction is called as end distance, and edge distance, that is the distance from the center of the bolt to the end of the plate perpendicular to the direction of force is called as edge distance. Okay, so this is generally the terminologies which is included, right, which you have to consider for the design. Okay, at last there are bearing type connections. In case of unfinished or ordinary bolts, the load transferred is greater than the friction resistance, in that case bearing action take place. So bolts in bearing type connection are checked for generally shearing strength, and number 2 is bearing strength. So the number of bolts were required is calculated with the help of formula, that is load to be transferred upon strength of one bolt. Okay, so basically since single bolt may fail and resist in collapse, so you have to provide minimum 2 number of bolts for the connection. Okay, so the strength of bolt is obtained as minimum of strength of bolt in bearing and strength of bolt in shearing. So first of all you have to calculate the design shearing strength of bolt, and then design bearing strength of bolt. Minimum of the two will give you the strength of bolt value, or you can say that bolt value also. Okay, the strength of bolt connection is equal to strength of one bolt into number of bolts, right. You will get the strength of bolt connection, right. After that you have to calculate the strength of joint, which is minimum of strength of bolt or bolt value, and the net tensile strength of plate. Okay, and the efficiency of joint is calculated with the help of formula, that is strength of joint upon strength of plate. Okay, so in that way you have to calculate the efficiency of joint in percentage, right? So this are all the criteria. This is the criteria which is required for the design purpose, for the design connection, design of bolted connection, right? So in my next video I will brief about the design concept of bolted connection, that is the design of bolted connection. So till then, thank you so much for listening the video very patiently. Okay, thank you so much, take care.